All right, folks, in today's video, we're going to be talking about XRP futures going live, how this is going to impact the price of XRP potentially. And then we're going to also talk about how Gary Gensler is getting absolutely exposed, and you can just see it. You can feel it. He is backed into the corner, and he knows that they're going to have to capitulate on the Operation Choke Point, absolute suffocation of the digital asset space here in the United States of America. And that absolute shame. The corruption's being exposed. We got the Ethereum Whistleblower, Steven Narioff, still helping us out on a daily basis. And I'm going to show you guys his most recent interview where he's choking up just a little bit. And exciting movements here in the markets here today. As the crypto was back down, markets have closed off here about 4 o'clock here on the West Coast. Markets all closed up for the day. Obviously, crypto trading 24/7 along with our FX and our metals prices still moving. But 28,340 Bitcoin back down from basically 28 is where we had gotten up to. And then that was the brief little rally that we had since we did the Monday morning fake news pump that took us up to about 30,000. Ethereum at 1564 and XRP at 48.85. Taking a look at the sticks, as I said, back up to 30,000 on the Monday fake news. ETF got approved. Oh, wait, no, it didn't. That was fake. But then, like I said, last night we got a little pump up to about 28.9. It's almost back up to 29,000 for Bitcoin, cooling back off here today. And we'll be watching that one closely. We take a look at the rest of our watch list on what took place here today. The dollar index was back up slightly, 106.55, up about 25 basis points or so. And the rest of the stocks were down. Tesla got smacked. Terrible earnings, big time misses on the Tesla earnings that came out today, along with some other stocks, and they're all falling off here today. Nvidia down another 4% after yesterday. Mr. Joe Biden, our president, and his White House administration actually banned the sale of these chips over to China. And we've seen Nvidia fell about almost 8% yesterday, down another 4% today, getting beat up. Gold was back up today, though, back above 1,960. Starting a fresh new day on the trading here, which is why it shows red, but it was up from about 1950 earlier this morning, all the way up to about 1960s is where we're at right now. And then silver did pop back up above $23 per ounce. And then the other big one that's making a move is the oil. With all the turmoil in the Middle East, we got Brent, the worldwide benchmark for oil, back up to 91. The crude oil benchmark in the United States at 88. So moving up in both regards. And then we move on to the currency war, and we see that the yuan has now surpassed the euro to become the second main currency in trade for the first time ever. This is according to Swift. People might scoff at the percentage, but they overlook the underlying trend unfolding. And as I've been saying, the trend is not your friend if you are an American citizen and you are saving and working in US dollars. More and more countries are looking to settle trade in local currencies and abandoning the US dollar. And we look at this situation back home. We got the involvement in multiple wars around the world, the beginning of a new trade war with China, and that came in with the chips being banned yesterday by, Nvidia. We have record low oil inventories with $90 an oil price. And that's with our Strategic Petroleum Reserve at one of its lowest levels ever. CPI inflation back up to a 5-month high, and it's ticking back up in a strong way. In the least affordable housing market in history, with mortgage interest rates back up to 8% for the first time in about 20 plus years. And that's bringing in the least affordable housing market in history. It's been a long time since we've been back at 8%. And the last time we were at 8%, your median house was about 25-50% cheaper than our prices here today. How is inflation supposed to hit 2%? It's not going to. No chance. And today we get to see Elon Musk and Mark Cuban are teaming up to take a stand against the SEC, shared here by Eleanor Terrett. In a joint amicus brief filed today, the pair voiced their support for the overhaul of current agency administrative proceedings that allow for the use of in-house judges to preside over cases brought by the SEC itself, prohibiting defendants from the right to a jury trial. See the brief below, and let's take a look at this thing. This is the brief right here, and I did take a quick read at it, and essentially what they're talking about here is The SEC should not be permitted to pick and choose whether parties are granted their constitutional right to jury trials or are forced to proceed in enforcement proceedings with administrative law judges immune from proper and meaningful oversight. So this is the Supreme Court case, actually. Scroll back up here to the top and you'll see this is a filing in the Supreme Court. And this is a case against the SEC. And essentially what we have now is we have this administrative courts where you're not given your constitutional jury trial. You're basically just up against the chosen judge of the SEC, a little in-house judge. And it's completely unconstitutional, completely illegal. And this is important that we have Elon Musk and we have Mark Cuban taking a stand too. And folks ask, why do we have this red folder? Do you want an XRP buyback at 50K? No, we want to save our country. We want a level playing field. And this is a prime example of why Elon Musk, Mark Cuban are fighting on the legal battlefield as well. See, we've been fighting over here in the XRP community because we were involved in this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. But like I said in the earlier update today, we're not going to shut up when the SEC settles with Ripple. We're not going to be done. And this is an important case. I'm glad to see that Mark Cuban and Elon Musk are going to join as a friend of the court. And it comes at a time here today when we see a most recent update, Gary Gensler getting interviewed. And you can just see and feel him squirming away like he always does, dancing around the issues, dancing around the questions, and answering here. They did not appeal the grayscale ruling last week, right? They had 45 days to appeal. They decided not to. So Gary Gensler confirming that, which just shows how weak they are right now. And then he backs up and he says, that they're still reviewing all of the applications. And he kind of disregards the interviewer asking him about the fact that there's many folks speculating that they're going to approve one or two of these and give whoever gets approved a head start advantage when we already have, according to Gary Gensler, 8 or 10 filings right now. There's so many he can't even keep track of them, which I think is embarrassing. He should know, and it shouldn't be taking this long to get him approved, and it's an absolute joke. But let's listen in here on Gary Gensler. You can just see this guy squirming in his suit once again.
Something else that happened last week, or rather didn't happen, was the SEC acting to appeal a court ruling from August in the Grayscale case. Grayscale, of course, trying to convert GBTC into a spot ETF. I know you can't comment on ongoing litigation, but should we still be considering that ongoing litigation given that lack of appeal at this point? And if not, what happens next?
Wait, didn't you just say that you knew I wasn't going to comment on the litigation? But let me just say...
But is it still ongoing since you didn't appeal?
We didn't appeal last Friday. I think that's accurate.
So you could still in the future in another form.
But what we have...
And this is so convenient for Gary. They're involved in so many lawsuits right now that he can't answer any basic question on the law, which he should be able to do. Right? These are basic fundamental questions on the laws. These are not, they don't have to pertain directly to litigation. But the problem is that we have the SEC involved in so many different lawsuits, so he gets to use this answer for all of these questions every single time. Oh, I can't, talk about any ongoing litigation or any ongoing investigations. So he can't say anything. Once again, it's an absolute joke.
Have in front of us, just so that the viewing public understands, we have not one but multiple, I think it's 8 or 10 filings that the staff and ultimately the commission is considering for what's called exchange traded products, for Bitcoin to be in a security.
No, we know what they are, Gary. Let's just get an answer on why we haven't approved them yet, right? We don't need this. You're not back at MIT trying to school us up on what these are. We know what they are. We know what they're backed by. We know the mechanisms for them. They're going to use the CME to back it and track it. It's all on the up and up. Why haven't we gotten this approved yet? We don't need a lesson. You already gave the lessons at MIT, and we're about to play one of those lessons where you admit that the corruption that's been going on, and he knows this all so well, but he just plays, so and talks to us like we're stupid, right?
So the Bitcoin would be held, and then there would be something called an exchange-traded product, and that would trade on various stock exchanges. And those filings are in front of us. I can't prejudge any one of them, but there's 8 or 10 that we're looking at.
Well, there is a large number, and there is kind of a narrative in this market, and I wonder if you could put it to rest, that someone's going to get to go first. Is that likely to happen, or is it likely to be a group approval? If you're going to have one, a bunch of products could be approved at the same time.
Again, I'm not going to prejudge. The staff's doing work on those multiple filings, but it's also about those companies are issuers. See, when a company is actually, or an asset manager is seeking to take something public, these exchange-traded products need to register with the SEC, and they go through a filing somewhat similar to going public, like an IPO. And so it's really the work of our division of corporation finance that gives feedback. Our division of trading and markets, of course, looks at the filings of the exchanges.
You know, he can't just come out here and say, though, that we're going to deny them, that we have basis and reasoning, you know, that, and he's not even sharing his opinion, right? You know that that's what he would want to do, right? And he's wanting to delay this further. He's not wanting to provide any answers. But the fact that he's not even making a case, right, on why they would deny them shows their hand, that they know that they're going to have to give into these. And this is nothing new. That's the frustrating part. Gary, we don't need IPO 101 class. We know how this works. You guys know how this works. There's plenty of other futures contracts that we have for all sorts of other assets and financial products, right? This is nothing new, and it shouldn't be taking this long to get this approved. You have a company like Grayscale that already holds all the Bitcoin. They're already tracking it all. Everything's transparent on the up and up. They're just trying to make it into they're trying to come in, register, create an ETF or an ETP, exchange traded product, same thing. And we got this run around, and we got to go back to IPO Basics 101. We don't need that lesson, Gary. We need you to get the hell out of our way. And we know the reason why you're standing in our way. It's because you're corrupt as hell, you and all your crony buddies, and you know what happened. Our good friend Steven Narioff, Ethereum Whistleblower. Gensler the Silencer says 9.5% endowment bought by VC Joseph. That would be Ethereum Joseph, right? Joseph Lubin. And 80% to public. Not what the public chart says. And the terms say no speculative buying. So there you have it, folks. SEC chair outing a 9.5% insider whale violating ICO terms with Vitalik Buterin. Okay, so we got a little clip here from Gary Gensler. Let's
Vitalik
see.
wanted to raise money.
Let's listen in on this little clip here. This is him at MIT when he was giving us the lessons on how to conduct these ICOs and how the Ethereum ICO was conducted. And he knows about this 9.5% VC whale, disguised whale, little insider whale violating the ICO terms. Let's let Gary refresh our memory on how this happened.
Vitalik wanted to raise money. He was maybe 19 years old. He looped in with a venture capitalist from Canada, Joe Lubin, who now runs Consensus. Lubin took about 10% or 9.5% of the offering. They put 9.5% in a foundation called the Ethereum Foundation, and the other 80% was sold to the public for $18 million. Vitalik wanted to raise money. He was maybe 19 years old.
He's teaching.
He looped in with a venture capitalist from Canada, Joe.
Let me pause that. This guy's teaching the class on how the ICO is conducted. It's like a history lesson, right? I mean, these history lessons will be played for years and decades to come when we look back at the beginning of this technology and we look at all of the ICOs. This was the wild, wild west of digital assets. And Gary Gensler, a guy who's now at the helm, knew all about it, right? He taught about it, but now he's nowhere to be seen. And now he's going to stand down while Elizabeth Warren comes out here today, sending a letter to the White House claiming crypto is a national security threat being used to fund terrorism. The big bad crypto guys. And Steven Narioff calling it out once again. Didn't we see this story already when the Justice Department said to shut down Bitcoin? And Katie Huan famously said, quote, it would have been akin to saying, let's go prosecute Cash. Notice, Senator Warren isn't stopping crypto CBDCs because crypto isn't the target. It never was. Hashtag crypto is the prize. And it absolutely is the prize. This is why good guy Gary Gensler is getting in our way so Goldman Sachs and the gang can get in on these assets that are going to be fundamental infrastructure for the new financial system, for the new way that we move, securities and equities markets to real-time 24/7 trading that's completely transparent on open markets. And what's funny is they're about to use what happened on Monday, the fake news article pumping Bitcoin to 30K. They'll use that as justification for why they're delaying or why they end up denying the Bitcoin spot ETFs, is because they'll say, no, it's still too manipulated of a product. And we can't verify that. Even though if we had a regulatory framework here in the United States, we would already be running all of these markets on DLT technology, and it would all be transparent for us all to see. And that's why we have the manipulation still going on today. Now, speaking of manipulation, we're going to get a little bit more. And although this is very exciting, XRP futures trading going live on Coinbase International Exchange. So this is not for US clients, unfortunately. And I am on the waiting list for Coinbase futures. They've gotten the preliminary approval. They just haven't launched it yet here in the US. I don't know what else they're waiting for, other than they don't want to get sued by Gary for this too, probably, or they're trying to go through the approval from Gary to launch futures here in the U.S. But I read that they've already gotten some sort of approval. But nonetheless, today we get the news that the perpetual futures are now available on Coinbase Advanced. This is for non-U.S. customers, and the XRP futures market is going to be available as well. Now, recall though, right, when the CFTC during the 2017 bull run approved futures on the CME for Bitcoin, they bragged about how that popped the Bitcoin bubble. So remember, these futures trading, the futures trading and futures contracts is really, primarily done with hedge funds and more sophisticated traders. I'm definitely not a sophisticated trader, but that's, where I've been doing all my trading, is in futures contracts on Bitcoin. Always going short. Sorry, not sorry, Bitcoin bros. But recall, this allows big money to bet both ways. And I like that. I think that it's healthy to have bets both ways. There talks to ban short selling. I think that short selling is a healthy mechanism in capital markets, and we should have, healthy futures trading allowed. But nonetheless, be ready. This is going to allow way more exposure to the underlying assets that we hold in XRP and Bitcoin. So we're going to get that spot ETF soon. Even if it doesn't come this year, it'll be early next year, most likely. But you can see from Gary Gensler getting exposed here today, they have to get us off their back. The XRP community is over the target, and the rest of the space now is pissed off with Elon Musk and Mark Cuban joining that Supreme Court case too. And the Supreme Court, if you guys have been paying attention, they've been striking down the three-letter agencies and reining back in their jurisdiction. So the Supreme Court doing a big shift on the legal battlefield with some of their, most recent historical rulings. We're going to have to continue to watch that. We're going to have to continue applying pressure, continue exposing Gary Gensler. Smash the thumbs up on this one, guys. It really helps when you like the video, or if you don't like the video, smash the thumbs down too. You can do either one. Please just engage, and then drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the futures contracts. Are you going to be doing any futures trading? Are you just a hodler, just an investor? Let me know if you have any plans to get in on the gambling action. You guys know I like to delve into the Bitcoin shorts from time to time. Nonetheless, very exciting stuff here. Is the ball is in our court, and we just got to double down on what got us here, folks. Victory is in sight, clarity is in sight, and God willing, we'll have a level playing field, and we'll be well on our way to creating a new inclusive financial system where we don't get these guys like Gary Gensler getting in our way, right? We need to open up, and we need to make sure that America remains the gold standard of capital markets, which includes a regulatory framework for digital assets as well. We got to get it done, and we got to get Gary the hell out of our way. So huge shout out to Elon Musk, Mark Cuban for joining the Supreme Court lawsuit as friends of the court, just like John Deaton did with the 80,000 plus XRP community members. In the legal battlefield, we're having huge victories. Gary swimming in his suit as always. The little guy, he's always so funny with it. And let's just continue applying pressure, guys. Thank you so much for coming by here today. Make sure we share this one out far and wide, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we got a lot more content coming your way. Everything else can be found on my website, zachrector.com. God bless you all.